Last time on Dice Funk.
In the middle of a forest where you see Antonio, Claudio, and Hook. However, this time they are not in a domicile painting. They are in the middle of the woods, and the Etten is swinging a sword and cutting a creature in half.
A Bigfoot centipede. It's like a Bigfoot centaur, but it has hundreds of legs, and all of them with giant feet.
The other giants have made their move. I spied them spike White's drink with a potent poison, but surely the size needed would have to be enormous for something the size of White. And even still, he fights back. This White is too dangerous for this world.
I think that the people deserve an explanation for a bunch of tree emails being thrown into their rooms.
Tree mail.
Yeah.
Please.
Horrible tree mails.
All right. I think that is absolutely reasonable. I will just add that Cassidy will ask you all, like, is there anything I can do to assist you right now? I would like to make sure that this place is safe for you all, and of course for the return of President Slater.
We have to deal with this giant. I am a skilled poison brewer, so I can potentially work with Buck as a way to get something we can get from here.
So Hialeah, I know, wants to go and speak with Harper about fixing the hole inside of the gig. But before you guys can get started, Dumas starts kind of shouting in the middle of the gig to everybody, like, guys, it's, he's here. Pofo's here.
Stranger looks to his brother and then nods towards Dumas and fucking doesn't give a shit about this conversation with Cassidy or anything else. Heads right towards it.
Don't care if the giant eats you all, I'm out.
Yeah. So you all gather around this staircase that the gig has, and you can hear steps going up, footsteps kind of slowly going up this staircase. And entering the gig lobby is Pofo, the Fearbelug.
I'm looking at the Roll20 here. We have at least 12 NPCs. Looks like 13, I guess, if you count ACH, who's currently a pile of goo. We gotta whittle these down. We gotta start slaying fools. This is too many to keep track of. Let's free up the Rolodex.
12 is too many for you to keep track of?
I don't know. We get varying comments. I remember back in like season 2 when I reached like 20, people said it was overwhelming. So I was like, oh, so season 3 should be in a tiny town where there's only like 5. But it's taste dependent. I've definitely had people say there was too many in seasons where there's only a few, or not enough in seasons where I thought there was plenty. It's just tastes vary. This is a podcast.
So what we should be doing is having sort of an American Idol style like tryouts for them, and the ones who don't perform to our standards, I guess, get eaten. I don't really know what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Sentence them to death.
Not to take away from the joke, you guys do literally have the choice whether or not to add NPCs to this story or not, and you've chosen yes every single time. So this is a communal effort at this point.
If it's all our fault, then so be it.
Nope. It's time to dance for your meal, Mox. If I don't like it, if you don't pop and lock it, you're going in the ocean.
Oh, you know Mox can absolutely dance. He's probably the best one of everybody at dancing, besides maybe Cassidy. I think there might be something sneaky up those sleeves.
Okay, new plan. We have to beat White at a dance-off, and if he loses, he just has to leave.
Not to put too fine a point on it, but he is white, so I don't think he has any rhythm. I think he's doomed.
Whoa!
That was a nominative determinism at its finest.
I'm gonna corner Dumas and go, sorry, we made a mistake. We gotta put you back in the ground.
You just start trying to push her back into an urn.
We brought you into this world. We're going to take you out of it. What's the story of the podcast we're doing?
Yeah, so this is a Dungeons & Dragons podcast. You guys are 3 arcs into it, and right now,
my character's name is Hialeah.
yeah, someone just showed back up.
Someone just showed back up. Also, we hit record, and I immediately tensed up because I've been nervous about this. So that's where my energy is.
You're just a little dryad. This has nothing to do with you. Your head empty. You're just shaking hands. You have no.
You're like, oh, cool. This fear belongs back.
Oh, hell yeah. Fearbala.
You're the only one not plotting.
First bit of audio for the episode is just Sarah full force vomiting directly into her microphone from stress.
Don't even joke about that. I literally did throw up earlier this week, not because of stress, but it was a bad sign.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so Pofo was resurrected. I have had Pofo represented by a Bodak icon this entire time in our Roll20, but the Pofo that came back is not a Bodak. It is a Fearbulog, who I'm going to drop an icon here. Don't fuck with my swag, all right? Just let me have my vibes.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Whatever, who cares?
Sure. Why not?
Don't fuck with my
You're
swag.
gonna have to do the voice.
Quinn 2024.
I already have a voice for Pofo. I pulled up an icon of Rocco from the titular Rocco's Modern Life. Just a Hawaiian shirt, kind of vibing little dude. That's what Pofo shows up as. He's like, hello everybody. What's happening? Well, did I do something wrong?
Nope. Hello, I am the Pope Hialeah. I have you can call me Big Papa. Welcome. Give you a little kiss of the head. Mwah. This is our welcoming committee. Lilian Sparridge.
Lilian
and
is gonna put
stranger.
like a hand on Hialeah, just like say like I don't think she's the Pope yet, but yes, she's Hialeah. I'm Lilian. That's stranger. We're the folks that helped bring you back because you've been dead for a bit. But you got vibe checked properly, and now you're back here at the gig.
The moment that Stranger sees that it is, in fact, a Fearbulug that has come back and not a Bodak, he's immediately not even looking at Pofo anymore and is scrambling through his bag to find where he stowed the piece of Pofo's Bodak body that he sliced off.
All right. For dramatic tension, Dan, can you give me an investigation check? Can you see how fast you can dig through your bag for this?
I got 8.
Ooh, for dramatic tension, it's going to be a moment here as Pofo's going to look around and be, oh, I can't believe I'm meeting the Pope. Oh, this is an honor.
Yeah.
Oh,
What an incredible day for you. This is so big.
There's so many interesting people here. Oh, that person's a pumpkin. Oh, that person's a pumpkin too. Oh, this is wonderful.
Pumpkin 2, the sequel to Pumpkin.
Just how you feeling, Pofo? Got any jet lag, but with vibes?
I feel tired, a little sleepy, but I think I've been sleeping, I guess, dead, for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So, but good to be here, wherever this is.
Stranger and Harvest are just violently rummaging through this bag, going, "Where is it? Where the fuck is it?"
Yeah, so with the two of you working together, you can find it no issue. You do find the chunk of Pofo, the Bodak. It is still physically there. It has not, vanished.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Stranger is going to breathe a sigh, like a moderate sigh of relief. This still isn't necessarily the answer he wanted, but it's a confirmation of that, at the very least, if someone came and ripped out one of his ribs, he wouldn't just die if they threw it into the well of resurrection. How is Harvest reacting to this information?
Oh, Harvest is giving you a look like, we need to go someplace. Like,
somewhere private right now.
Yeah, a stranger is going to concur and go turn to his team members and go, I need to have a discussion with my dear brother for a moment. Would you mind handling the welcome committee? And we can convene afterwards to deal with White.
Yeah, apparently there's Pumpkin too. That's a huge for you.
Well, I think that's really just us, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just them. But yeah, we could be welcoming. I can be double welcoming to make up for the fact that you need to go talk to your brother. Don't even worry about it.
Lilian, could you be triple welcoming? Because I'm not sure I'm feeling it today.
Listen, I can be as welcoming as you need me to. I just need to take a couple deep breaths and power up my own vibes. Just pow. Hello, welcome.
Okay, well, if you got that handled, we did have several trees thrown through our house, so I was gonna ask if I could roll to like help clean up and repair things. So I do have some tool proficiencies.
21's incredible. Yeah. Describe how you're repairing the roof of the gig.
Yeah, so if Stranger and Harvest are going off to conspire and Lilian is being the responsible adult and welcoming the, traumatized, just reborn person, Hialeah wanders off. She's very tall, so she can reach, the roof where there are holes in it and stuff. I don't know who else is helping. I assume Harper is like the handyman around here, so he can probably pitch in too. But also, Hialeah is probably someone who's responsible for building the gig in the first place. I don't know if we've ever said that out loud on camera, but she's just a big person with this proficiency, and so I feel like she can just like reach up and like put things in place and then hammer nails in. She's competent in this. With a 21, I feel like she's the best person for the job and does the best that I'm allowed to get away with.
Yeah, absolutely. You have no issues doing it. Is there anything you want to say to Harper while you're up here?
Absolutely. I want to say to Harper, hey, I just got this sword, and you're my sword guy. Remember back in episode 1 where it was established that you were like researching all my swords? I know it's been like 3 months, but it really did happen. I promise. Can you?
I'm gonna keep a track of all your swords. I got me here with my little notepad, and I jot them down every time you tell me a new one. I heard about your last one was the fire sword. Is there a new sword?
Yeah, I'm calling this one Paint Sword. Apparently paint comes out of it, but I really need to know what it does so I don't, turn myself into art or something when I swing it, because I don't want that necessarily. I mean, I already am a work of art. You know what I mean, though, like becoming a canvas or something, some sort of portrait of Dorian Gray situation.
Well, I don't know who that is. Is he nice? Dorian? Mr. Dorian?
I don't know. In this universe, he's probably a really fearsome orc or something, because that's how
he'd be a lich, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm stupid.
Is the idea of a magic painting even interesting in the world of D&D? You're just like, I have like 1,000.
It's more like a historical fiction story than a fantasy story.
Yeah.
I think the real risk with a paint sword that turns you into art, you don't want to Picasso yourself. You don't want to accidentally take all your facial features and rearrange them.
Yeah, that's what she was trying to get across. I don't know why I was so inarticulate, but yeah, she doesn't want to do something bad with the sword when she doesn't know what it does. So yeah, basically all I want to accomplish is repairing the gig from White's triograms and touching base with Harper, who I don't think we've seen on screen for like
it's been a little bit.
Months.
It's been a bit. It's hard to touch base with some of our NPC friends.
They're all here for you whenever you need them. Yeah, Harper's gonna sort of look at the sword and say, like, well, I mean, it's dripping paint, and if I touch the paint, it kind of hurts. So I feel like maybe the sword can, like, shoot out sort of elemental goo or something like that. Have you ever seen something along those lines?
Epic Mickey!
Listen, Harper, I've seen some elemental goo in my time. I went to party school. Back home, so I've seen all sorts of goo. When you say it hurts, does it hurt like a +1? Does it hurt like +2? I'm just gonna keep raising my hand.
Maybe a 1d6.
It hurts like it's a +2 weapon that you can shift the elemental damage of at will. If I was to make it a guess.
I would love if you would make that guess for me, buddy. That would be the best.
Yeah. If you could just, change whatever color you wanted it to. If you were like, that thing's got to be zapped, you'd be like, yellow paint.
And, if you wanted to do acid, well, I guess that'd be green. I don't know what the fuck force would be. We have very narrow elements in this world.
Well, I appreciate that. So, did you and Dumas ever, make up? I've talked to you both separately about your situation, but for some reason, you never talk to each other when I'm around. Isn't that weird?
We talk to each other all the time. Me and Dumas, we're real good. We're real close. It was a little strange, I guess, having to find out a brother wasn't a brother, but then realizing they are a brother,
Sure. I don't know. No, that's never happened to me, but it sounds like, from your tone, that's going well.
Yeah. I feel like everyone around here, we're kind of trying to build this as some measure of a community, so there's no reason to hold any kind of grudges. Dumas a good egg, He's figuring some things out, but, he's trying.
Oh, you think everyone here is a good egg? You got the read on our new visitors. There's Captain Commander Cassidy and Harvest. They're totally on the level. You think? Good.
Well, Harvest seems like a charming sort of fellow. I don't know if I'd necessarily trust him to hold my baby, but I feel like he's a good sort. He came here to look out for his brother, and damn if I ain't, gonna stick with that myself. I shouldn't swear. I'm sorry. I'm gonna put a nickel in the swear jar.
Yeah, that'd be very funny if your character is something like, I fucking cuss now. That's my thing.
I'll swear up and down this fucking shit. Just watch me, bitches.
Oh no, that's like $5 in the swear jar.
Remember when I was Irish for one line in the first episode? That was wild.
I was Canadian, as you'll see in my notes. My voice is listed as Canadian/good old boy, and then in parentheses it does say it will become Italian.
Damn, I wish I could look at my own stats and know my voice is going to become Italian.
I'll also say
that's written like it's a terminal disease that this will occur at some point.
The diagnosis will become Italian. It's terminal. The Italianness is very aggressive. Stage 4 Italiano.
It is true. Every person that has been Italian has died.
Fuck.
Oh my god. There's no cure.
Oh no.
I needed the vaccine.
I'll say though, Cassidy seems like an honorable folk. He's a little intense, but he's been helping out and doing everything he can. Seems like a good person if I don't even understand necessarily why he's here.
Well, I appreciate that. Anything else new with you? I have a lot going on, so I don't want to, add too much to this conversation. I'll go off in different directions because I'm sure there's other interesting things happening in the gig that, want to happen simultaneously. But how are you? Good?
No, not really. We're all kind of a little nervous because trees just started coming in through the ceiling, and we were all kind of already a little on edge after all that Bishop Bitter Creek protecting the body parts talk. It feels like maybe things are about to get a little intense for our small little community. Maybe we'll have to put the hockey team on hold.
No, it's going to be fine. I'm going to fuck that giant inside out. You just leave it to me.
What?
Pope Hialeah has your back.
I feel like that should be phrased differently.
Nope. I am papally infallible, so actually that has to happen now.
You're gonna crawl inside of him?
Don't illustrate it, Harper. You're gonna make
I'm
it.
losing my mind.
Punch his prostate? What's happening here?
Are you gonna get real big? You're gonna crawl up his anus and then get real big like Ant-Man and Thanos?
I'll show you a diagram when you finish fixing this window. In fact, maybe we'll do a stained glass window to replace this one, depicting my defeat of the storm giant white. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea, but you haven't done it yet, so how'd we build it? You want to leave this window blank until you do?
Oh my god, it's always something. Just let me have this.
In 1,000 years time, all that's going to be left is part of the stained glass window. It's going to be this like beautiful circular glass piece. No one's going to have the context for it anymore. They'll just have the name, and it's the sphincter.
Oh my god. Okay, so I'm gonna get back.
You had a couple swords where you were like, this one depends on me being honest, and I kept track of that, so I'm just trying to keep you honest.
I appreciate that, Harper. So I'm going to get back to work here, but I do also want to throw another thing at you. Pretty urgent on the agenda. We are building a vault room for the body parts. I don't know if you were part of that conversation. I'm putting together a Praetorian Guard and a vault room. So you're going to be kind of point on that, Hammerman.
Oh, okie dokie. I mean, is it fine if it's like kind of made out of wood? That's kind of what we have the most plentiful of resource here.
I'm sourcing. It's not, listen, I have things going on in my character sheet you couldn't even imagine.
Oh, well, that's good. I was worried with the way it seemed like things were going. It seemed like you were headed towards an inevitable but very avoidable end. I'm glad to see that you have machinations afloat.
I sure do. I've been looking at the rule book. I've been checking all the various charts. So as long as Quinn doesn't fuck me on this one.
I don't know who this Quinn gal is, but she sounds right intelligent and very smart. And Harper is going to walk over to you and kiss you on the forehead. He's like, all right, well, that was the papal goodbye, I believe. So I'm going to get going.
I've hoisted myself by my own smooch.
Do you think it's a bad look for a religious leader to demand a new tenet of their religion be, I get to kiss people?
That's already a demand of many religions. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but when you create your own new one and go, no, but this has to be it there, though.
I'm going to drop in a quick link to a brief history of the Christian ritual kiss. You can read that on your own time. Anyway, cut to another scene.
Yeah. So let's go over to Lilian talking to Pofo.
Damn, he's really getting in there.
I swear, you all try to fucking test me on religious shit. I'm going to fucking blow apart your fucking taint every time. Why do you even try?
I wasn't doubting you. I was making the point that Hialeah created a new religion and went, nah, you know what? I gotta bring the kissing into it.
Okay.
So, what's your name?
My name's Lilian. I'm one of the folks who looks after the body parts that get brought here to the gig to be brought back to life after we do a little thing called a vibe check. You probably don't remember that part because people don't remember the part where we go into a mind palace because it's not exactly the same as talking to the actual person, but we got to kind of get to know who you were as a person before you died.
Oh, well, I mean, that's good. I hope it was wasn't too scary. Sometimes I have kind of scary dreams and such, but it's good to know that I was gentle on the other side. That's good to know. I'm gonna make a little note of that.
Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to check in with you. Like we've said hello, welcome to the gig, and I just wanted to ask, do you remember a person named Buck? He's the person who brought you in, you see.
Yeah. I love Buck. Buck's my best friend. He's so cool. He just likes watching things rot, which is like kind of a form of death. And I like watching that too. That's pretty cool.
All right. And then I also wanted to ask, do you remember being a Bodak?
Yeah, I was a Bodak for a bit. I don't quite understand why I turned into one. I guess I just, I find death kind of interesting. It's the one thing we all have in common. We'll all die one day. Sorry, that's morbid. I didn't mean to upset you or anything.
I'm not upset. I'm getting used to the fact that I'm dealing with a lot of death and morbid topics in this line of work. I would actually like to consult with you about your particular interest in death after we deal with the more pressing matters of you kind of showed up at a pretty dire time. There's like a whole
I'm
thing
sorry.
with a giant that wants to destroy this place. That's none of your fault for like not knowing that before like you or Buck ever even showed up here.
Oh, I'm sorry if it was inconvenient, though. I don't really like to be an inconvenience. I really like to, kind of make things easy for everybody. That's what I like to do. Sit in the corner, not talk, not eat food. That feels like it would be an inconvenience to a lot of people sometimes. So, sometimes I'll just sit there and think about death.
Well, I'm sure that the not eating food part is more of an inconvenience than you would think it is, but that's a problem to deal with. Like as we like reintroduce you here, I'm sure that we can find you like a room to live in here once the holes get patched up.
Is there
And
is there something I should do? Everybody here looks like they have such big important jobs. I'd feel weird if I was just like a person, kind of hanging around.
well, I do have something that I was thinking of. We've actually been recently trying to figure out how to better protect the body parts that have been brought here because there's a lot of people coming in and out, and the line has been getting longer, so more people are getting a little testy about when like their body parts get to be checked or not. So maybe you could help us with like maybe not the protection part, but like, uh how to say this, like getting more in tune with like the ghoulies and the ghosts that are like kind of surrounding the body parts because this place is pretty haunted. There's a lot of ghosts floating around.
You see Popo's eyes like visibly like brighten with excitement when you say that this place is haunted. He's like, oh, I'd love to do that. We could try talking to the ghosts, maybe help kind of ease them over and maybe make communication. I kind of always had aspirations of being like a grief counselor, and I feel like this might be a good first step in doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like getting to talk to them so they're not as like rowdy. If say someone were to hypothetically accidentally knock them over, like they could like be a little more at peace while they're waiting.
Yeah, I could be a ghost whisperer. That sounds pretty cool.
Just I am glad that you're into that idea. It's very fascinating how much you're into morbid topics. Like I never really thought about how that could be interesting for someone until I checked you, and it was a little scary at first. But like I love like helping like people like in the living times, but like death is also a pretty important part of that.
Yeah, I guess I hope that if you got anything from seeing my vibe, it was that death doesn't have to be scary. In fact, it's pretty beautiful, actually, especially if it can be shared with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, I'm kind of trying to maybe key in that if everything ends in a total party wipe here, maybe it's not so bad after all, because you all go together, kind of a community and all that. That's sweet.
Speak for yourself. I'm getting out of here. Losers. Later.
That is a sweet sentiment.
This giant squishes all of us.
The sentiment of going all together is sweet. I would like to try to prevent that beforehand, but trying to accept it if it's like as it's happening is probably at least good to like settle in our minds as a possibility.
Okay. You mentioned my friend Buck. Is he? Can I see Buck? I'd like to talk to him.
Yeah. I could. Buck is outside, not in the gig. He's got his own little setup, his own little like mushroom house. We will have to get a gas mask for you. I have one of my own. We could probably go get one from Parks. He's the one who gave us the ones we used.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I should wear a gas mask. I think that's how I died last time.
That would make sense. Lilian says, like thinking up into the thinking back on like Buck's like general demeanor and just being like, yeah, okay, yeah. But yeah, like if you want to go talk to Buck, he's probably not moved from where he is.
Oh boy. I can't wait to see my good friend again. I'm head over heels. Yahoo!
And how about I come with you just to help things go smoothly, which I'm sure they will. But you know, like I think it's part of my job to make sure that you integrate in like properly, whether it's for a little bit or for a long time.
Well, you said you have so many busy things to do. There's so many things. I don't want to hold you up. I'll wear a gas mask and I'll come back and then we can figure out those ghosts.
All right, if you say so. You can go talk to Parks, who is the older gentleman robot over there. I'm not sure why he's old, but you know, makes him easy to spot.
Oh, that's good. Oh, really helpful. Hey, before I go, Lilian, do you have a best friend?
Oh, yeah, I do. Oh. I do have a best friend.
And with that, Pofo will just smile and be like, "Good. That makes me really happy to hear. Thank you. You've been really nice. Thank you. You're very good. Thank you. Bye. Thank you."
All right. You're welcome. I'm welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad that I could help. Just like smiles and like courteous, like very like the big hospitality, and then like Pofo like walks away, and Lilian does look like a little like, my friend's really mad at me and I'm sad, but I'm not gonna say that part out loud. I'm just gonna look a little crestfallen.
And as we move from one relationship to the next, stranger, where are you taking your brother?
Let's see. This should maybe like I feel like people have probably left the bar at this point. They don't have time to be sitting around drinking currently. So that feels like a good spot. I'd like to point out two things. I'm noticing Pofo seems to incessantly apologize for things they don't have to apologize for before. I wonder where this character trait might be sourced from.
We already did this bit with Dumas. It's just all Quinn characters.
I don't know what you're talking about.
When Quinn gets high, she apologizes for just about every other sentence she gets out. Also, I'd like to note, Harvest would make a great babysitter, except he thinks that is the action you're supposed to be doing to them.
Sitting on the baby?
Yes.
Okay.
Look, his species doesn't have kids. They don't know.
I'm not worried about White anymore. I think if we lean on him hard enough, he'll apologize.
How dare you?
Yeah, I think Stranger has brought Harvest to like a corner table in the bar area, and slumps into a chair and takes off his hat and says, "Well, that has at least given me the last answer I needed on the mechanics of this place."
Yes. Ain't that a bite, though?
It's not ideal, but it could have been much, much worse.
Oh, no. I meant about how we have to kill everybody here now.
Brother. While in some cases I might be inclined to agree with you, Stranger has had a pretty reserved, close, guarded tone to him this entire, I guess, campaign. He does start to grin now. Like, he very rarely, like, he smiles regularly, but it's more like, you know, a bemused smile. This is like, I've got an idea up my sleeve. And he says, "Brother, can you not see the opportunity we have here?"
What, in this Squaresville? Well, you're gonna have to vomit on the table for me, because I'm not picking up what you're putting down.
Brother, I've seen how the young Harvest can look at you. You're a legend in the making. You're going to be the next Blackwoods butcher. There's no doubt about it. But you know what would cinch that legend? Killing that giant. And imagine what I could grow with his body.
So there is a moment where So there is a moment when Harvest is almost like he's disinterested.
Like he's like, no, we have to kill everybody here because like this place is still a danger to us and all these sorts of things, even if it's not completely the same way. You like Stranger themselves has brought up like the point before that like, you know, people could still go looking for their old body and things like that. Like in Harvest's mind, like, no, we have to kill everybody here. But when you bring up that specific point, there is like a momentary pause. And then they also start to kind of grin along with you.
At the end of the day, yes, there will be people coming for us, maybe more so than before, but that's not that much different than our current operational standard. But they're going to think twice if we have something like that back home. And I think, currently, the gig is not in a position to refuse our demands for concessions. They need our help now more than ever.
Well, rise my berries. My little brother still got it. You're gonna hold all these little, whippersnappers here in, some sort of a cultural blackmail.
Brother, you're a being of the present. You live for the hunt, the kill, the reaping. I'm a farmer. I sow seeds and wait.
I like where you're going, stranger. I like this. Ooh, I'm jazzed now. All right. We killed this giant. How hard could that be?
Well, he was quite big. He's the largest giant I've ever seen. But if we enlist the help of the rest of the gig, maybe get some poison from Buck, could even get those wet folk down below, we might be able to pull this off.
And you can smooth talk everybody, give them the apple butter that tells them that we can take this body.
Well, at the end of the day, what use do they have for it? And simply, if they do not acquiesce to our demands, we could just leave and the giant does the work for us.
I like it. I like this a lot. This is a win-win for the Harvestkin stranger. You're gonna be celebrated when we get home.
It would be nice to bring that giant back. It'd be a notch in my belt. I will say, brother, I don't wish ill on these people, but ours comes first.
Too true. And as you said, if it all goes wrong, we skedaddle, and this whole place sinks to the bottom of the ocean. That would solve our problem anyway, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. Such is the way of things. Impertinent and finite.
Well, all right, Daddy-O. We've got things to plan.
Let me meet with my team members and see if I can not convince them to see reason.
Yeah, so Harvest will let you go and gather your team. Is this a decidatorium moment?
Yeah, I'd say so. Back to the laundry room.
We're still in the laundry room? I'm trying to remember if we moved it into the kitchen at some point. I know we discussed it.
Well, considering Hialeah continues to eat all the linens, I think that is the kitchen floor.
I believe in my last note has that it's still the laundry room.
All right. Hialeah will show up. You'll notice the paint sword has been tied with a vine into fracture her bundle of swords.
Just Lilian will show up. And like, you can tell that Faye are, like, pretty composed and calm, but like a little bit shaky, a little bit shaky here in the knees. Just like, all right, like I guess we're figuring out what we're doing next.
What's the matter, Lilian? Was Pofo rude? I'll fucking kick his ass. I'll go out there. I'll paint you some fucking carnage.
No, Pofo was perfectly polite. Maybe a little more polite than is good for himself. He seems like he likes to be very small, which I don't quite understand. But like I think he's doing fine. He's getting the gas mask. He's gonna talk to Buck, and then I have some plans. He could help us with his interest in the morbid, with getting the ghosts to also like play along with our vault idea. But like no, Pofo is great. I'm just a little rattled, I guess.
So, there's something I'd like to discuss with the two of you if you have time now, although I understand we are pressed. Hialeah, you have consistently acknowledged that I keep my cards close to my chest, and I'm ready to lay them down on the table, as it were.
Wait, were they under your hat? Where'd your hat go?
It's in the cleaners right now, and Stranger points to one of the washing machines.
Oh.
I like to imagine
I think my crow's in there.
Bird is pecking at it.
Oh, they got, look at these. Delicious socks today. What a bountiful harvest.
People are going to start complaining if you keep eating that, you know?
This is the most random character trait I've ever even conceived of. Why does Hialeah eat clothing? She has pica.
She's lacking nutrients. She's craving something that only linens can provide.
Yeah. I really don't know what I was on about with this one, folks. But yeah, Hialeah says...
Late season Austin having to deal with the ramifications of prior season Austin.
Oh man, who could have done this to me? Yeah, Hialeah says... yeah, I noticed, Pofo's back, so you've probably got some information. You ran off with your brother, obviously, I already knew about you stealing a piece from a body without saying anything, so I'm excited. You don't have your weapon drawn, so I guess it could be worse.
Yes, this isn't an ideal result for me, but it could have been much worse. The rest of his body part didn't disappear. I came here to be a vibe checker, not for these poor, pitiful, lost souls brought here and placed in the queue, but for you two and this island itself.
I like to think that I cultivate a very healthy, friendly vibe. I hope that's the kind of vibe you were looking for.
It is sad to say that it is not what I've been looking for.
Uh-oh. What does that mean? What does failing the vibe check mean in this context? You're gonna try to pumpkinify us? I'm just gonna say I would make a great pumpkin. People are too afraid to say that, but I'm not.
I came here because someone came into my home, killed a harvestkin I was growing, and ripped the bones from his body. When Harvest and I ran him down and extracted exactly why he did this, we learned of this place. That is why I came here, to learn how this place functions and how it's being... to learn how this place functions and who exactly is running it. And suffice to say, this place is in utter disarray. There is no guardrails for anything. Every vibe check we've had has been a mess of sorts. And Miss Killings is seemingly walking around with not a punishment in sight.
Would punishing Miss-Killings help our vibes? I feel like that would make things decidedly less vibe-tastic. Punishment's not a good look.
Punishment is important. It implies that there are standards to be kept. The man who came into my patch did not leave it alive.
All right, that's interesting to learn. I would say... I'm not sure if I want to punish Miss Killings outright, but like maybe we could assign her to some kind of like community debt more than what's usually expected. I'm not sure what that could be, but like that could be something. Like if you skip the line, you have to do 40 hours of community service.
The point I'm making is not the nature of the punishment. It's the lack of structure here. Yes, it is being built out now, but it is slipshod and
we are setting the rails before us as we are traveling down the path.
Yep, we sure are. That's why the Praetorian Guard's coming along, the Vault's coming along. We're building, Zolfo's having a whole cultural exchange festival to get us allies. I mean, we're working on it, So,
And I want concessions.
okay, so you're kind of, in addition to being a cool pumpkin spy, you're an ambassador. Do you have power to make deals on behalf of the Great Patch?
If you acquiesce to what I am asking, they will be happy with the results.
I do love a good negotiation. I will say that I think you, because of your traumatic event, are looking at the situation as all downsides. Another way you could look at it, if you were interested, would be you now have a very valuable resource, which is other people's bones, which are now much more valuable because they can be turned into living people. So, when you find a gold mine or a diamond mine or something, people are going to want to take it from you, and that's bad because it's dangerous, but it also makes you extremely rich. So just maybe a different spin on that if you were looking for it.
Yes, but here's the problem. These bones are in people already.
Yeah, and my understanding is they don't have to take all the bones. And I know that some people are going to do that because they're rude. It's not an inconvenience, but...
Oh, so you'd be fine if I took a hacksaw to your shins at the moment, would you?
I mean, a number of people have done that over the years. I've regrown a lot of branches. I realize everyone's body situations are truly outrageous, so we don't need to compare apples and oranges to pumpkins here. But listen, it sounds like our two communities can have some kind of ongoing relationship. The body part economy. That's a phrase we can all say out loud to ourselves now.
Before that, I would like to before we even start figuring out catchy slogans or fun phrases, I do love those, but I would like to just ask if stranger, you could just lay out what your concessions are, because I personally hearing your story and remembering seeing how the Bodak Pofo got struck down, I think it's probably at least in a lot of people's best interest not to just be thinking about the living, but also like the dead and the undead when it comes to this place, because it seems like everyone's gravitating toward it.
Concession the first. If there is any indication that someone assaulted a harvestkin, a Bodak, something like me, for the specific process of retrieving a body part, they are immediately disqualified from the queue.
As Tree Pope, I do have access to Zone of Truth, so I feel like that would be a pretty easy hurdle to put in front of people. Did you obtain this body part illegally through violence, things of this nature? Yeah, that seems pretty simple.
As well, as this place expands and has more teams doing these checks, we've already discussed growing Harvestkin to defend your vault as a Praetorian Guard. I want a Harvestkin on every vibe check.
I think that's fair enough. I feel like a group of humanoid living people might have some biases for someone like Pofo. I know I certainly had to work through a couple of them as quickly as humanly possible.
I definitely want to diversify our vibe checkers. We're expanding the operation. The banyan tree is itself growing, so we're going to have more people doing this. As to specific, let's say, undead to living quotas, I don't want to give you a number right here. I can promise to attempt diversity, if that's what you want.
Acceptable for now. And finally, I want White's body.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen him yet. I assume he's fucking huge, so as long as I don't have to pay for transportation, I don't know, I don't have a fucking big enough box to put him in.
Just what do you guys want White's body for?
Stranger grins and says, I'm going to reap what he has sown.
Damn, that was a cool line. I just lean over to Lilian. Giant pumpkin.
Giant pumpkin. I see the vision. I do see the vision, stranger.
And don't worry, I believe he will be walking out of here with him at the end.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, no, that's sick. I mean, I appreciate everything you're doing, you and Harvest coming over here, checking out our situation for your people. I mean, if the flesh you cut off of Povo had disappeared or turned into something else when, he was resurrected, that would have been an existential threat. The well of resurrection would be in opposition to all undead creatures, which, wasn't out of the question. It is like a life thing, so why wouldn't it threaten unlife? That makes sense. So I get all that, and I don't hold it against you for, as we've been saying, keeping your cards close to the chest. I haven't told you all everything I'm planning as Pope, and I hope you'll be as equally understanding when I get into those details.
Oh, well, do you want to, as my brother puts it, put vomit on the table?
I'm really excited to. I have a lot of things I want to talk to you all about, but I want to meet White first, so I have all the information, because I don't know what that motherfucker is going to say. His triogram seems like he's open to some sort of conversation. Maybe it'll just be like threats and posturing, which would be unfortunate, but I can work with that. But if it's something maybe more complex, then that will figure into my pitch. I'm going to pitch you on the future of Banyan Island.
Fair enough. I do think we need to revisit your Pope conversations. You're taking a lot of religious liberties while also simultaneously, on any given moment, claiming it's not a religion but also is.
I would also like to circle back to the Pope thing at a later date. I love the theatrical energy of being the tree Pope of the bigger tree, but maybe we're running into that particular angle a little bit quicker than I think anyone's even really agreed upon, except for you and.
I think it's just her. I think it's just her currently.
I think it's just her. I've just been having fun with it because it's kind of like putting on a religious performance of sorts to be like the grand leader of something. But I've not actually been 100% signed off on it, if I'm honest.
It's just really fun to say. Have you said Tree Pope out loud to anyone? It puts a smile on their face. It brings the energy up in the room immediately. It's a good time.
I think, yes, Tree Pope is very fun to say. But yeah, we can talk about this after we go speak to White. Stranger, I'm glad that you were able to put some cards on the table that you hadn't before. If it means anything, I don't know. I haven't been vibe checking, quote unquote, like you guys, but I have thought that your vibes are in fact extremely cool.
Oh yeah, circling back to you vibe checking us. What? Were you just completely prepared to cut down Lilian? I understand you cutting me down. I get that. Real recognize real. You were going to stab Lilian?
To be honest, I say this in the nicest way possible. I felt like I could knock you out pretty easily and then just burn down the island.
Just I'm glad for now that you don't need to do that. The implications vis-a-vis whether you would have killed or saved me, I think we can put in a little box and talk about another time.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to go. Yeah, put that one on the shelf for later. We were just trying to, wind down from a hard day at the office, and we see there's a box labeled, my best friend was going to kill me.
Stranger kind of shrugs and goes, if you were a threat to my very existence, I don't know what to say. You're lucky. I had to talk Harvest out of still going to do this.
Well, I'm glad you did.
I mean, while we're in the Decidatorium, I guess I'll just, on the subject of killing Lilian, one final point before we adjourn the meeting. Lilian, you came to this island to revive your friend Needles and to entertain people, and you have done both. You've succeeded. You won at life. I would not hold it against you if you wanted to get on Harvest's boat and go away. If you just take needles and run. You know, you didn't sign up to fight a big giant. You don't seem extremely enthusiastic about swordplay. Do you know what you're agreeing to? Because I don't want anyone on my team who isn't prepared to die when we fight a storm giant, which is basically the closest thing to an ancient dragon that I'm aware of, like, alive today.
So, I'm glad you asked that, because I have been thinking about it. Because when I came here, it was to bring my friend back and then to entertain people. You are right. And I have done those things. And it would be pretty easy for me to take needles and go back home. But I think something that I am invested in now more than I was at the start is not just bringing the people back to life, but the people who are here waiting for that. I want to make this place safer for them so that they can live to see whether their family or friends can come back. And I also want to act in the best interest of the dead people while they're still dead, because you've seen them floating around. I did a big oopsie whoopsie, like getting a poltergeist all up over like my business because I knocked over an urn.
Yes,
and
you ruined the chance of that child finding his grandfather's gold.
His lost gold. It's all my fault. And I just feel like if I'm here, like doing these vibe checks, I think it's given me some perspective that, like, it's not just about making people happy by, like, making sure that their life is good, but it's also about making sure that their death is good, even if they can't come back. I want to make that entire process smoother and more amicable for everybody.
Okay, but you're aware a storm giant is like less of a person and more of a hurricane made of hate, right?
Yeah, to be totally honest, if I found out the bad results from Pofo, there was a chance we were just going to bail and mop up whatever was left after the storm giant got done with you, if there was anything left.
So what I'm trying to say is that this commitment for, like, the living and the dead, I want to get better at fighting for that commitment. I went and talked to that nice lady, Barbella. I got some pointers from her. I want to be stronger. I am stronger. I leveled up. I have more spells. And I think that if it means putting myself at danger for the cost of trying to make sure that all these people that are relying on me get to live another day, then yes, I understand that I'm walking into a hurricane.
Okay, so we're all prepared to die. Perfect.
Yeah, Stranger will nod and then say, so what's next on the agenda? We talked to the gigantic asshole, the big white guy.
Yeah, let's see what that motherfucker wants. And presuming it isn't complete surrender, I assume we're going to go cook up a nasty rot potion and then jump his ass with like 1,000 dolphins or whatever's going on downstairs.
Yes, I have a tactic I call the rat bomb, but I think it violates the Faerun convention.
Dan spent all week pitching us on the most fucked up peasant railgun shit. Just completely violating the spirit of narrative coherence.
Rat bomb is beautiful, and it's sad that it's not.
It just works.
It just works. Rat bomb, stranger.
We'll do an extra session where you just do this plan and instantly kill White in like a minute, and everyone's like, "Well, that was a letdown."
I can modify my my plan to be 8 pixies, 5 apes.
Yeah, it's the kind of stuff that the game designers were just like, well, no one will do this because it will be, it'll take all the fun out of the game. And Dan's like, you don't know me.
I play war games. This is how they work.
Dan has a certain like a mind construction fit for this kind of like game breaking like fighting techniques.
So before you all leave, Cassidy is going to walk up and say, I'm sorry to interrupt. Is this a good time?
Hey, Commander Captain, have you tried the pillowcases today? They're scrumptious.
No. My doctors say I get too much fiber in my diet. I wanted to ask if you're all going to meet with this large individual on the island.
Yeah, the white guy, gonna fuck him up. I've already commissioned a great stained glass art of my victory. It's gonna be, well, quite graphic, to be honest.
Well, like, it would be our victory, but first we need to talk to him. I think, know thy enemy and all that.
Yes, I wanted to let you know that I will stay behind and watch over this establishment. My men will also be here to make sure nothing happens to it. We want you to feel secure in leaving this place behind while you go to do this. I also just want to confirm if President Slater is next up to be revived, then he will be an enormous asset against this big white guy, as you refer to them.
So can I get
Yes, I do.
Can I get an insight check here? Because, this is a guy who showed up with an army. I thought he liked me, but now, who knows what the maneuvers are. Let's just see, do I detect any
Sure.
bastardry? 25.
So I will say this. Not bastardry. This is not somebody who's like, the moment you guys leave, he's gonna like lock the doors. Like, but but Cassidy is confirming. This is what he has been told at this point, is that President Slater is next up to be revived. He was there when Bofo came back. He's like, oh, cool. My guy's up next. So he is legitimately like, oh, this is awesome. Like, there's this very scary threat, but we're about to revive President Slater, who's like a fucking awesome, powerful, like, warlock patron. Like, that might be like the thing we need to like assure our victory. So he is just kind of trying to confirm that is what's supposed to be happening.
Do you believe Slater would actually help us in this endeavor? I would imagine it would be more in his interest to simply leave.
Absolutely not. I believe that President Slater would see the value of this island, potentially what it can do to protect those who aid the further betterment of humanity, who maybe meet their demise too soon. This white fellow, as you refer to them, sounds like a being of destruction and chaos, which is antithetical to everything the president stands for.
Actually, I believe the deadline for bringing back Slater is tonight, right? It's like at midnight, so it's literally hours away for all I'm aware. So you don't have to wait very long at all. I actually wanted to touch base with you on some security things. You have your troops here protecting the gig. That's really great. But I was actually interested in running some stuff by you. Do you have time?
All my time is available. Whatever I can aid with, I am happy to do so.
Okay, so I'm sure you're aware, the tree up here and the snake down there are kind of the resurrection process that Slater's undergoing right now. Some of our people who normally guard the tree are unavailable. They're fixing the gig. Do you think maybe you could transfer operational command of your troops to Miss Killings, AJ Killings? She works for your boss, President Slater, and you could personally guard the tree, because it's like we need the strongest guy out there. It's like the whole hub. It's the most important thing.
Gosh, can NPCs roll insight? It's one of those questions where it's like, what a randomly suspicious thing to ask.
I think that would be like a persuasion, right?
Yeah, I think you're going to have to give me a persuasion, because I don't think he's just going to go along with this necessarily.
That's a 9. Not very good. I know.
Oh.
I know. I'm asking a lot. Bard, please.
I was gonna
Bard?
say, is this a situation where Hialeah is solely pushing us forward, or does the rest of the party try to assist? Or I guess just Lilian because of Fair's charisma score.
Yep, and Stranger hates Miss Killings, so he has no interest in giving her an army.
I'm listening to Hialeah make this pitch, and like out of character, I understand it. In character, I think Lilian is like, "What the fuck are you talking about, Hialeah? Why would Miss Killings be good at leading an army? I don't understand that line of logic."
Actually, you know what? That's also a good point. I think Stranger gives Hialeah a very confused look because they just had a conversation on how Miss Killings is getting away unpunished with what she did, and Hialeah's pitching, what if we put people under her command?
What if we gave her more power?
Just I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely a character choice. If Lilian doesn't want to aid, then Hialeah will fail this check.
Just I definitely think that Faye's not going to help with this check. I think that Faye is thinking Mr. Commander Cassidy's initial just offer to stay here and protect the gig. I feel like it is pretty good on its own, on its face. Like, we can find someone else to protect the tree, and I feel like protecting the gig where all the people are is at least more of a priority, at least in my eyes. Like, the tree, I don't think it could probably be taken down in one hit. That would be a pretty weak tree.
All right. With that, Lilian is not going to assist, so Hialeah will fail, and Cassidy is going to say, I appreciate the offer, but I think I can best direct the soldiers and give them the right orders. Miss Killings, while very capable in her own ways, is not a military mind. So if it is all right with you, I will continue to direct them in.
Yeah, Hialeah says, well, I guess that's the way it's going to be. And anything else you need from us? We're about to go. You don't want to come with, or?
No, good luck. I think it is important that someone who can protect this place be here, just in case an emergency evacuation is necessary.
I think before we head out, I would like to find probably Parks and just ask him to if anything goes wrong, super badly wrong, to let Needles know that Lilian is ready to deal with whatever happens, talking to White, and that Needles should try to prioritize keeping herself safe and trying to get out of here if possible.
Aww. Yeah, Parks will absolutely take that message and assure you that it will be passed along. And with that, the party can head off towards White. Can I get survival checks from everybody?
Yes, but I also have a feature here. Let me see something.
Little druid feature, little druid number.
A Golgari agent feature. Undercity pathways. Hidden pathways that you can use to bypass crowds, obstacles, etc. As you move throughout the city. This was designed for Ravnica, but I think the same kind of thing applies here. When you aren't in combat, you can lead your travel between any two points in the city twice as fast as your speed would normally allow. But the paths of the Undercity are haunted by dangers that don't visit the lights of the surface world. So your journey isn't necessarily safe. I don't really know what that means in comparison to you bypass obstacles if you're going into a big monster. But I could offer that as an option.
I mean, so I will say this. Yes, you can get to White faster if you would like. But you do know that path is not safe. There might be creatures along it. So do you want to take that path and run the risk of running into something?
Nah, I've got 7 survival. I can work with that. But Lilian, you got guidance or anything? I'm scared.
9.
24.
So I have 2 more, like, unlucky slots left to burn on my stupid mask. So how about I say I fail this survival roll?
All right, yeah, you can absolutely do that. That is going to give you a 13 and a 24, and then a failure. That is going to pass. It's not a spectacular roll, but you do figure out how to get there. Stranger is curiously the one guiding the party. Have you been, like, taking time to, like, leave the island a little bit and kind of scope out the paths? Or leave the gig, I should say, rather.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. I think out of the rest of the team, he's the most willing to just live outside. Like, he's not used to the trappings of, like, a well-built civilization, I guess. So he doesn't really care about exposure or anything like that. So he probably does just wander about the island at night. Maybe walked over White, not realizing he was a sleeping giant.
Yeah, okay. So together, the party can absolutely find their way to White. Once you are getting close, you know it, because this is an enormous person who is currently just, like, sitting up right now. So you can kind of see them poking up over the tree line eventually and, like, use that to guide in. But I'll leave it up to you to decide how you want to try to approach.
As we're walking across the island, do we see any fun plant animals? Some plantimals?
You might have. Dan decided to bypass those.
Aw. Well, I'm saying we see them in the distance and they're fucking incredible.
Yeah, there's absolutely...
Beautiful plant.
Hold on a second. There is a hippopotamus.
Oh, I love hippopotamus.
Yeah, these poor hippopotamuses were supposed to show up like 2 arcs ago, and everything that happens keeps cutting them out. So
no,
maybe one day the hippopotamus will show up in the story.
Have you guys ever seen baby hippos? They're the cutest animals in the world.
And then they start killing people.
I was gonna say,
and then they start killing
people. Have you seen an adult hippopotamus? Because they're the opposite of cute.
Do you know they can't swim?
They just float. They can't swim.
No, they don't. They don't float. They walk on the bottom.
Yeah, because they're water horses. We had this whole discourse in the wet team. Skitch and I went and saw a hippo in person in Florida. It's been a whole thing.
The Skitch never came back.
Yeah, that's why all of his lives are done by AI now. We stop on a ridge, right? We're on this island. We're working over, there's all this plant material. We have to probably climb some things. We look out over, the horizon. We see some hippopotamus, which have a delightful texture. And Hialeah stops for a moment and says to the other two, "You should have had my back there. Now we have to kill Captain Cassidy."
In what world does that mean we have to kill him? What are you on about?
Why would we possibly need to kill Cassidy? He's been nothing if not agreeable and willing to acquiesce to everything we've asked, except, give up command of his men to someone who expressly failed the task set before her by his boss.
Stranger, if someone showed up with an army at your beloved homeland that you've sacrificed so much to protect, you would be this chill about it? You would just let them set up shop? You would just let them encamp? You would let them bivouac?
I don't think we're being chill about it. I think we're accepting some help in a very stressful emergency.
Oh, this is why I have to be Pope. You all can't see the 4D chess moves.
What? Well, you didn't see what I was doing up to this point as you stroke your back there.
I extremely did. I remember when you cut the piece off of Fofo and I just immediately clocked what you were doing and said it in front of everybody?
You thought I was growing someone new.
That's close. I was close.
Either way, why would we need to kill Cassidy after this?
I hope we don't have to.
Please answer the question, why?
We'll get into it. We have to see White first, and she starts walking down the hill towards the giant fucking monster person.
A truly insane thing she is determined here.
just if Hialeah is just walking forward, like Lillian's gonna like look towards Stranger and be like, is it me, or is between the two of you she the one that's less forthcoming, even though you were literally hiding a lot of stuff about why you were here?
Yeah, I don't know what she's on about at this point, to be honest with you. We still need to go over this whole religion thing, because it has switched between parks and recreational services to religion, back to parks, back to religion.
I think maybe trying to become a pope might melt someone's mind, but I'm not sure yet.
To be totally honest with you, I think she just wants a captive audience to sell a theological book to.
That might make sense. I haven't seen her writing a book recently, but maybe she's been doing it like on and off with the Pope thing.
All right, I do have to ask as a party, so you're just going to walk up to White?
Yep, we just say, "What's up, Holmes?" I'm just walking forward, making myself extremely obvious.
Yeah, so as you approach, as mentioned before, this is a storm giant. They have sort of bluish purple tinted skin. They are enormous. They have a very Nordic sort of appearance to them, a very long kind of white beard, but we're going to avoid the word white. We're going to use eggshell, an eggshell beard. And they're dressed in sort of unspectacular, sort of like leathers and various different like sort of simple attire. They have no weapon on them or anything like that. And they are simply looking down towards you when you approach. And the giant will say, "Tell me how this island works."
That's quite a greeting, friend. I am Big Papa Hialeah. This is my head of hospitality, Lilian Sparridge, and my spy master, Stranger the Pumpkin. Well met.
I am not your friend. I am your ruin.
This probably goes without saying. Total conversation in giant, obviously, which I've established I speak. I don't know if he cares, but just for the record, I'm saying all this.
You're always trying to get brownie points by walking up to people being like, "I know your language."
just I don't speak giant, so like Lilian is like doing like a really deep vow and just being like, "Hello, White. We are the envoy of the island. We are the vibe checkers. As of the current date, I am Lilian. That is Hialeah. That is Stranger. We are here to talk."
For the record, Hialeah likes that she knows a lot of languages. She thinks it makes her seem smart and cool. Like Wendy McDonald would never fuck with that with any of this approach. This is very specifically a her thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
White will just say,
"I care not of your names. How does this island work? How are beings returned from the dead?"
Oh no! If we tell him the truth, that's the big snake underwater. We're just sending this villain to Wet Team. Just be like, "Yeah, there's this killer whale lady, Reaper. bring it up with her. Fucking stick your Quinn's villain on herself."
Off.
And what exactly do you intend to do with this information? I imagine destroy whatever we tell you?
Correct. End this process and return the natural order to whence it came.
And will you kill yourself when you're done?
I care not what my fate is at the end.
Well, it seems only fair. You're a product of this unnatural, terrible thing.
Damn.
Did not ask to be brought back.
Stranger rolling up with the KYS. Banned from chat.
Where are the
I
mods?
don't think I'm wrong here.
Mods. I'm gonna run an ad.
Yeah.
Just Lilian is like, well, you see, it's a bit of a complicated process. You see, we gotta check on the people first and see.
The stranger's gonna immediately try to clasp a hand over Lillian's mouth because he doesn't want to give any information to this giant asshole.
Extremely fair. Like, stranger will do that, and Lilian will just shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I'm the one who's acting wild here. So, okay, we all look at each other here. I don't actually have any way to communicate quietly. I was thinking, though, kind of, how do I want to say this?
Hialeah speaks Sylvan, right? So does Stranger, and I think they've done it around each other by this point.
I also speak Sylvan.
Wow, you like nerdy plant people use your plant language.
Yeah, so I say something innocuous in Sylvan first and check if there's any recognition in his eye, because it would be very funny if he also spoke Sylvan and that was a complete waste of time.
Yeah, no, I will say White does not seem to regard it in any particular way. Give me an insight check.
All right. I just because language so rarely comes up in D&D. It's like everyone speaks everything. It's fine. There's a spell that does it. So I really like when it can matter. 21.
Yeah, I will say this. White does not seem to know what you are saying. Like, it's beyond he doesn't care. He does not know what you are saying.
Sick. So yeah, we can talk to each other in Sylvan and to him in Giant. Let's just say that's happening. Turning to the others. I don't think it's a good idea to just tell him the truth. I think he'll just march towards the tree and attack it, so that's bad. My only current idea is send him after the riddle snake, which I have reason to believe can defend itself and maybe just buy us time. I'm just taking a guess here. My assumption, if he tries to fight the snake, it is impossible to win because it's less of a creature and more of a question. It's like a question made manifest. He gets frustrated, comes back. By then, we have an army.
Would we have a way to inform them that this being is coming? We'd be sending people to their death, potentially.
I will just say, yeah, we can just tell Bishop Bittercreek at the gig, and he can tell everyone down there. I don't even think it's going to be an issue. The rattlesnake doesn't hang out in the town itself. It's like way out into the ocean, and it's basically impossible to locate without being its cleric. So I don't even know if he could get to it. I mean, what?
You have to, like, summon it, right?
Yeah, so I literally think this is just a wild goose chase that buys us time, is my idea. Maybe I'm being callous with the snake. Who knows? I've been accused of being callous with the snake before.
Could we bait him into the Coral Kingdom? I understand that there is a conflict happening there.
You know what's so fucking funny is I think last episode someone said something about let's just throw White off the edge of the world, or let's just throw him.
Let's just push him into the ocean.
Well, I both said push him into the ocean and then said turn him into a rat, fly to the edge of the planet and drop him off because we're at the edge of the world.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that was in the actual show we make, and how much of it was us just talking to each other. So I will say, yeah, we joked about throwing him in the ocean, and I was like, he's a storm giant, he can breathe underwater. But then after we, stopped talking to each other, I had this moment where I was like, if he does end up in the ocean, he absolutely can team up with our enemies, which is the Coral Kingdom. Like, that's a complete and total like storyline possibility. So you just said send him there like as a feint. I'm telling you, he's coming back. And hell is coming with him. Like, they're gonna figure that out. I can tell you that because I DM Wet Team.
Fucking extrajudicial DM powers.
White is going to interrupt you all and say, "Are your people able to evacuate?"
Is that something you care about?
I am not a murderer. I don't care who calls this place home. They may persist. This island must go.
You killed ACH, did you not? The Etten, who was your follower? How are you not a murderer?
They brought me back. They chose to violate my natural cycle, and thus were crushed. The
Cool motive, still murder, bro.
The same will occur to everyone here. I am being merciful.
So Stranger he knows his his underways, right? That are fraught with danger. Could we suggest go into them and just wear him down with a wild goose chase monster fight, essentially? I guess it's a similar thing to the coral to sending him underwater.
What I will say is that concept might work more if White weren't so big that he'll just he doesn't operate paths the same way you would.
That's true.
So he will just step over things.
We would just be sending a hurricane through the island.
Yeah, you're just kind of giving him a shortcut.
Mm-hmm.
I'm struggling to think of ideas because, my worry is that whatever we tell him about, he just runs there immediately because he's 40 feet tall and his gait is so wide.
I will say that as far as deceiving him goes, that is actually honest, saying it's the riddle snake in the well that does the unnatural thing. The tree isn't really, at least the way he's wording it, is not the answer to his question.
So this is, this is something I have been both the player side and now the DM side, is that players do try to find the most interesting way to word everything they say to be like, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. Where was the lie? Whereas what he has asked is, how does this island work? To which no one's given him any answer. So that's fine. He is just going to operate under the assumption he always had, which is this island has to be destroyed. And if he then discovers that the holes at the bottom of the ocean are actually what revives people, that's fine. This island is still in his crosshairs no matter what. Because, and he could perhaps elaborate more if someone asks him to, but there is a reason why he wants this particular island destroyed.
I have been wanting to ask if this is a chance to talk to him. I did want to ask. So, when you say that, ACH, broke with the natural, cycle, going on with you, what is that natural cycle for you?
That I was killed. A rare feat. I am very strong. It took a lot to kill me, and I lost. I accept defeat, but if I am returned, I have no choice but to use my strength once more and end what should have been my defeat.
So it sounds like there's no possibility of you maybe taking the second chance to pursue less violent things with your life. This is this is more of a you were defeated honorably, but now you are back, so you will just continue to do what you were doing.
Why should I do anything different? This world works as it is. There is a system, even if we can't see it. This new world pollutes our minds with things that we should not have. There was an order before.
Yeah, but you could pick up a hobby. Badminton's pretty hot right now. I feel like you have an incredible wingspan. You'd be really good at it.
Perhaps javelin tossing.
No, you're already very skilled. You bonked my house big time, bro.
Yeah, that was very impressive. Did you just scratch the messages out with like your nail? Is that what the impression is I get?
More or less.
You said why change, that you have no choice. I find that when people come back after being murdered, they might think to change a few things about what led them to that scenario. Food for thought.
Oh, we're debating his ideology. Hialeah says, looking at Stranger. I thought we were just having fun with this one.
Stranger is like kind of half-heartedly doing it. Like with every other NPC, he's been kind of like analyzing them. But you can tell his heart really isn't in it because he just wants to kill this guy because he wants his body.
Why change? There is nothing to gain. If the same circumstances were to occur, I could perhaps lose once more. It was what it should have been.
Was it? You were defeated like 50-on-1. That doesn't really seem fair. I would want a rematch. I feel like if they 1v1'd you, you would have come out on top. Right? That's how you were defeated, to be clear. By a sneak attack, your head got chopped in half, right?
Almost assuredly, I would never lose 1-on-1.
Right, so the natural order of things is for you to be the strongest and survive and win all your fights and stuff. You're talking about returning to an unnatural perversion of sneaks, of cowards who backstabbed you.
There is no fairness in nature. That is a folly you believe. I lost. Simple as that.
Like a dandelion hunting a bovine. I remember this imagery, and we interrupted the natural process. This is a recurring motif. Thank you.
Yes, you are correct. Nature is cruel, callous, and there is no fairness within it. But how do you know this is just not the next step? Or is it not against nature for someone to come back and start killing the living? You quibble over your reasoning. I think you're just lashing out.
Go to therapy. Go to therapy, bro.
White will move his hand over top of you, stranger.
Oh.
And you see like yourself kind of lost in this shadow that his hand casts. And he says, "What happens if I crush you? Where does your philosophy go? It is worthless against might this big."
It goes into a delicious pie.
I think we understand that you are very strong. Oh, it's very, very big, very strong.
And yet someday you will die, as all things do.
Exactly.
I assume no one wants to roll persuasion because, like, this is like trying to tell the Joker that crime isn't funny. Like, I think he's just kind of.
I don't
You
think
guys
we're
can.
convinced.
I have not. I haven't specifically been asking for rolls, but if you want to roll something against him, you absolutely can.
While I'm taking, I guess, like a measure, Stranger isn't interested in convincing him. What I guess he wants to know is, like, if he can suss out any, like, potential weaknesses or things that he could, like, use in how this White is currently living to weaken or bait him, I guess. Like, what resources does White have? And what could we, like, where is he getting his food and stuff like that? Or, like, what does he have to actually fight us with? Is he just going to fist fight us?
Yeah, so give me a perception check.
Okay.
Crit. Crit, suck my nuts.
25.
So we got a 26 from Hialeah, a crit, a 25 from Stranger. Lilian, are you going to participate?
Choose to fail and then tell him to kill himself and use your automatic pass.
I don't have an automatic pass yet. I have one more failure.
Choose to fail now.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We have a 26 and a 25. Lilian, would you like to participate?
No, I think that they're also failing at this.
Okay, so Lilian is going to intentionally fail. You have done 3 failures. Your bunny rabbit mask now has unlocked its guaranteed crit. And with a crit and a 25, I will say that you can see kind of in this area around how White has been living, or at least interacting with everything. There are just huge chunks of the ground sort of missing around him that have just been heaved across the island. Those are the trees, you presume. There are not like weapons per se on White, but it does seem that he possesses a strength significant enough that the entire island is essentially a full armory for him that he can use.
I know you probably don't want to reveal this, but Quinn, if Lilian did say kill yourself and the mask critted, what would they twist their own head off? They punch their own chest, like their heart out?
I probably would have asked you to do something different because he is fine with killing himself after he destroys the Well of Resurrection.
Okay.
So, the actual specifics is something where it's like, that's actually already kind of on his docket.
So like Lilian will, still in the same like deep bow, like look, crane way up at White and tell him plainly, White, you said you're being merciful by not killing everybody here immediately, and we do greatly appreciate that. I personally think that the preservation of life is one of the greatest things we can pursue in this world, although I know we see from mighty different angles. In exchange for this mercy, I do think we can give you some of the information you asked us for. The answers you're looking for, how people come back from the dead, aren't actually here on the island itself. We're connected, of course, but if you're really dead set on restoring this order that you're looking for, then the answers you are looking for are under the water. I just ask that when you go looking for this place where people are brought back to life, that you extend that same mercy under the water to the people not directly in your way. Please.
That sounds like a persuasion check, Lilian.
And Lilian automatically crits.
Damn straight. All right. Yeah, so White is going to look at you and say, so be it. You may want to leave before I return. This island must still be destroyed to ensure no community rises to disobey this cycle. And White is going to stand up and start walking towards the edge of the island, and then just sort of step off and go into the water.
So I believe it's time to start planning to kill him?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Lilian is looking back at the two of you now. I think, like, even with that plea that I have given him, I think we do need to plan quickly as possible so that casualties are at a minimum. One of us probably has to go talk to Bishop Bittercreek about that.
Stranger places a hand over his heart, like a little bit over his mouth, and like fake shock, and goes, Lilian, I'm surprised you're growing up so quick and ready to murder.
Just like, in the same way that this guy's idea of mercy feels very twisted to me. I think that he's twisting my arm a little bit, and I think I need to reassess my own views on mercy.
Hialeah says, well, I was withholding my plans because I didn't know Stranger's motivations, and I didn't know that Lilian had the killer instinct required to carry out my vision, but today you have both allayed all of my fears. So if you would like the full transparency hour, I would like to pitch you my vision in the shade of the banyan tree, if you would allow me.
Well, it's going to be a long walk there. I suppose we could do that. What are we going to talk about in the meantime? You catch Lilian Zay's performance? I quite liked it. Dumas had a bit part in it. Very, very nice.
Yeah, those, the kelp people really thought that it brought out, the inherent tragedy in being a little guy. They seemed really into it. So hopefully we'll get them as allies. I assume they have some sort of giant killing weapon hidden in their seaweed village.
Yes, their Beretta 9mm.
I'm glad that you guys enjoyed Dumas' performance. They've come a long way from their first rehearsal. I think that this is a great direction for them to be going in. They're really good at projecting their voice now, even if they aren't in person.
Yeah. So, we are beset on both sides by powerful forces. Obviously, from the past, we have the white guy who wants to bring everything back to the ordning, to just raw strength and brutality. And in the future, we have President Slater, who is bringing the unstoppable force of progress to turn everything into its most efficient, soulless self. And I don't know that we can beat both. Maybe we can beat one. But our prospects are looking grim, as Stranger loves to remind us, because of our lack of discipline and rigor around here. We're all just kind of doing our best. No one likes being told what to do or how to act. So we're not exactly a fighting force. So I have taken some measures to protect the future of Banyan Island.
Then those would be?
Well, President Slater is supposed to come back pretty soon. The sun is setting right now in the background. It's about to be night soon. That's the deadline. And Hialeah says, when I communed with this sun elf in the Mind Palace, he knew on some level what was happening, and we, I don't know how else to say this. We kind of traded minds and secrets. He has in his home one of the numinous things that we do. The banyan tree has, many counterparts, your smiling moon, and he has a living city. So he's very powerful. And I don't know that we can take him, especially not when we're also fighting a storm giant.
What exactly did you trade with him? You said this will defend the island in some way. Did he give you a weapon, a design, a spell? And in return for what?
What he gave me was an opportunity to use all the power of the banyan tree to defend it, to give out warlock powers. I guess that's the part where I reveal that Miss AJ Killings is my minion at this point. There's not going to be any punishment of her because she's already as punished as a person can be, which is that they are my lackey, which must be embarrassing. So, she is actually fully stocked with instructions to help you, and you don't have to worry about her. If anything, she might be annoying in her extreme competence to see to all your, needs and help you out.
So to make sure I understand correctly, what Hialeah has gained is the ability to give people warlock powers as like a conduit through the banyan tree, right?
Yep, basically.
And then Stranger will say, "You're leaving out the second half. What did you give in return?"
What I gave in return is that I have to undergo quite an ordeal. You said to us earlier that you came to Banyan Island to vibe check us. And that's only fair. It would be quite hypocritical of me to pass judgment on all these people, on Dumas and Pofo and ACH, and not have to go through the process myself. You know, how can I know what the correct way to judge people is if I haven't been judged myself? So in one way, I think this is a divine, perhaps, if you don't like the religious terminology, it's a beautiful opportunity to walk the walk of my own bullshit, to have a taste of my own medicine.
That doesn't really answer the question. I'm not sure what you actually gave him, other than you're being vibe checked.
Yeah. So I'm gonna leave some things here. Hialeah takes out Fracture, her big bundle of swords, and she slams it into the ground, blades down, and says, "This is a very valuable weapon. I've been collecting the parts all my life. It has many magical properties. It's worth more than enough for Lilian to you work your bardic magic." I was hoping to get more magic myself, but I ran out of time. But the warding spells that we discussed require materials, and I authorize you to cannibalize my life's work to create a secure vault for the body parts. And she pulls off the paint sword she just got, puts that in the ground separately. This one is for my minion, AJ Killings. Make sure she gets that. To Stranger, I bequeath my fruit. She pulls up, her hand and reaches up and pulls out all the banyan fruit that have been growing in her branches, and says, "I don't know how strong the warlock powers will be, but try to find people who are, loyal to the cause." And
I'm sorry, are you dying? What is happening here?
I was about to say, are you writing a will right now? What is happening?
Yes. What I promised President Slater is that I would bring him back by the deadline or I would die. And I would never do that because he is an existential threat to the banyan tree.
Stranger is a bit flabbergasted here. So
So
oh
you're
my
doing.
goodness.
So
You
you're
have-
bringing
we have-
him back and dying.
doesn't... hold on. Doesn't Bitter Creek already have the body part?
Hialeah reaches into her bag and pulls out the shin bone and says, "No, he obviously failed the vibe check. We all agreed. I just used rhetoric to make it seem like we should bring him back. I tricked you. I'm sorry." And she activates her fire rune, and fiery chains leap out of the sword, wrap around the bone, and reduce it to ash, which blows away in the wind. He cannot be brought back. He cannot be allowed to live. He will consume the entire world with his machines. And maybe progress is inevitable. Maybe we'll lose eventually. But that's what we're doing here. We're fighting the inevitable, death that comes for us all. The Banyan and the Well of Resurrection, they don't make you immortal. You will die of old age eventually. All we're doing is giving people more time. And that's all I'm doing, is giving more people time. It's just hospice care. That's all we're doing here.
I need you to realize something, Hialeah. Although I do have comments about your hospice care thing, but we have limited time here because you are, I guess, going to explode. If you had told this to me ahead of time, I would have had Harvest kill him after we got him to go to the banyan tree. That being Cassidy.
Yeah, I really thought you all would have my back after the decisiotorium. I really thought we made some progress as, friends, and then you kind of left me out to dry there. Yeah, no, Cassidy's a huge problem.
Because we don't trust Killings, because you're not telling us anything.
I'm on Stranger's side. I think we should have been letting the loop maybe a little bit sooner than a couple hours before midnight. Oh my god.
Yeah, I also wish that we had been closer the whole time and more on the same page, but it's too late now. And if you don't believe in me, let me fail the vibe check. That's only fair. I've done it to others, and I'll do it again if I'm brought back, because that's the nature of what we're doing here. So I'm putting myself in your hands, vibe checkers, to give me an honest check. And if you think I'm worthy, then let me do my thing.
Oh goodness me.
I think I'm gonna throw up for real this time.
Yeah, I mean, I am also feeling rumbly in my tumbly. I've never exploded before. I don't think it's going to be good, but I'm willing to do anything for the banyan tree. So,
The thing is, I thought we were close. Were we not? Were we not buddies?
Lilian, you're my favorite. My problem with you is never that we weren't friendly. It was that I didn't know that you would, for example, kill an unarmed person like Slater, who there's an argument that, because he's hands off, because his machines grind up hundreds of people while he sits in an office, that he is, unarmed, undefended, or whatever. I need someone with the stranger's killer instinct who will scythe someone's head off when the obvious becomes clear.
I thought maybe if he came back, he might change his ways and maybe not have so many bad, factories made. Maybe he would make good factories that are nice to people.
Yeah, that was my concern, sweet Lilian, is that you would think that. No, the whole thing about progress is it doesn't stop. It goes on forever. And maybe one day there will be a train that comes to Banyan Island, and all of the little corporate drones will do the vibe check, and they'll charge you for it, and only rich people will be able to afford to come back, and this will all have been for nothing. But I'm hoping that will be long after we're all gone.
Unrelenting progress and stagnation are both in and of itself horrible choices. I'm inclined to believe progress in some way leads to change, and everything that changes also eventually dies out. That said, you have not given us many options to work with here. Yeah, Stranger is reeling at this point because he wasn't Lilian, do you have any ideas how to deal with Cassidy at this point? Actually, do we know that Cassidy brought his own copy of the body part with him? I think we do.
I do believe he did he's like the backup.
Then what we tell him is this. Because the revival process is tied to the riddle snake, and there's currently a storm giant going to fight the riddle snake and likely kill anyone getting near it, we have to delay any revivals for the time being. Both for our own people and for whoever's being brought back, because the giant could just murk them in that time.
Yeah, I do think that's the best option, for that piece at least.
I feel bad that I'm leaving you with a military occupation. I was hoping that Killings would be in charge of the army right now, and we'd have Cassidy right here with us under the tree and be able to be persuasive together. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave that to you all and Miss Killings, who is going to have all my sick, nasty powers. I've given her just some really cool stuff, zap-wise.
Can we take a guess who Austin's next character is going to be?
Can I say...
That's right, Parks!
Can I say, did any of you figure out this is where I was going? Because I was like, I felt bad about throwing such a curveball at Quinn. I did let her know kind of early, because I didn't want her to prepare a bunch of stuff that she had to throw out when I sprung this.
So I knew you had Miss Killings set up as like a backup character. I kind of figured that would be like if you died, which was true, but not in this sense.
No, I figured that you thought narratively it would be more interesting to deal with like the push and pull of modernizing this process and like us having to deal with, okay, can we get resources here versus what do we have to give up to this outside environment. So I figured that's what I didn't second guess it because I thought that was what you thought was most interesting narratively.
Yeah, and I had no idea about Cassidy when I made this decision. So Quinn has still, the forces of modernization are still here, unfortunately. I thought that maybe that we'd be like a little bit scot-free at this point, but Scott has in fact imprisoned me.
All right. Austin, describe how your character explodes.
Oh, what a great sentence. Yeah, Hialeah has put all of her equipment down, like laid it all out, bequeathed it specifically. Maybe the last thing she does is rip a branch off so that could be vibe checked. And then she kind of steps back into the shade of the banyan tree and says, I know everyone's been really uncomfortable with all the religious talk. I should say that I'm not trying to start a cult. I just really believe in the banyan tree, and I think it's a beautiful resource that makes the world better with it in it. So I've given it a lot of thought. I've done some research about historical titles. One that has kind of the flavor of a religious thing, but is secular. Comes from the same root word as Duke. So when I come back, if I pass the vibe check and Wet Team has secured enough allies to fight the white man, I will return triumphant as Doge Hialeah the First.
Are you set on that name? Are you sure?
I'm out of time to take any feedback. It is a real title. And then you see, like, under her bark, there's, like, red glow. From within, she is burning, and she's like, so if you let Killings know if you have any suggestions. I'm sure she'll market test everything. She has people she can talk to for, nope, I'm sorry, I gotta go. Doge Hialeah the First. And then just like a fucking bomb going off, she explodes.
Enjoy meeting your god. Oh god.
Do we get dexterity saving throws to avoid the shrapnel of Hialeah's corpse?
Yes.
7.
24.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's gonna be like someone who had you ever heard about someone who had like a piece of bone embedded in them, like in a war, like a grenade went off? Sorry, this is really dark, but like if Dan's gonna have a piece, if Stranger's gonna have a piece of Hialeah stuck in his body somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally innocent. There's no reason, it's the end of the arc, there's no reason to roll damage that'll immediately heal.
No.
But I think the notion that there is a piece of Hialeah inside of your pumpkin body in some way is interesting to consider.
Her lips fucking fly at him and play at the final forehead smooch.
I think Lilian is holding like the specific branch that Hialeah broke off to get put in the queue, and like takes a deep breath and exhales and goes, I'll go put this in the queue. Whenever that gets through to us is when we'll check it, and we'll give an honest vibe check. I'm just not sure what the actual answer for that would be when that time comes. I think there's a lot for me to think about right now, considering someone I thought was maybe a little closer than I should have thought just exploded in front of me very gruesomely.
Yeah, gruesome death is something that I'm rather accustomed to. That's not the part of this that has got me particularly rattled. It's, now that we're fighting a war on two fronts, I understand this isn't normal for you. We see a lot of stuff like this back home.
It's not normal for me at all, but if you give me some time to think, I think I'll have some ideas to help.
Oh, goodness. Yes, we have preparations to make, I suppose. The gig goes to war.